Okay, so I've been in the healthcare world for close to 40 years now. And when I was introduced to this by a physician friend in 2010, I thought he was crazy. I thought he lost his marbles and was, going down the Amway trail. And I just really was worried about him. I wouldn't even look at the ABC primetime video. Now, this man, I have to give him credit, and every time I see him, I always give him huge hugs. He was consistently persistent. He continued to follow up with me about every 3 weeks for going on 9 months. Truly.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And at one point, I was really kind of nasty to him. I said, "Have you lost your mind? Isn't this a pyramid scheme?" I did the whole thing. I threw up all over him. Well, he just would smile and say, "You haven't watched the video. You watch the video and we'll talk." So eventually I did. And of course, I was immediately enthralled that if this had real science behind it, I was all in.
Yeah.
It had to be real. It had to be real. So, I'd seen so many different things that people would hire a lab to run a few tests and say, "You've got a great product." But never had I seen independent research centers funding their own research to look at this product. And eventually, my first go around was that very evening after I watched it. I went online. I was the director of a level 1 trauma center there in Lansing, Michigan. And so I had access to a lot of websites that we used for the residents because we had a residency program. And so I was able to look up real research and found 7 peer-reviewed published research papers on the product itself, which was also crazy because the science
on the NRF too?
On this product, on Protandim.
Okay.
It wasn't just on NRF2, it was on Protandim, which was
all on Protandim, okay.
Because they don't look at products. They might look at NRF2 or oxidative stress, which they have. There's hundreds of thousands of studies on that. But the issue of looking at a specific natural product that was not a drug, that just didn't happen. But I found out why they were looking, and that's because Dr. McCord was known as the father of free radical biology in medicine. And the research world knew him. And they said, if this guy says this is going to reduce oxidative stress an average of 40% in the first 30 days, and we know that oxidative stress is the root cause of so many of the diseases that we deal with on a daily basis, they were all in also. And they paid for the product to research it themselves.
Wow.
And that has continued. We're up to, what do we have now, Julia? 27? I think we're up to 27 peer-reviewed. And there's others that aren't peer-reviewed that we can also look at. So there's just so much scientific evidence. And we have patents. And we have international patents. We have national, United States patents. That's just on our Protandim product. Then we have patents and patent pending on other products that we have come up with through the years. So when I got involved, there was just one, and it was the NRF2 product, but that was enough. And it just began to explode. And I think the thing that caught me off guard was the business side. I didn't really care about the business in the beginning. All I could think about was, oh, that's network marketing. I'll put up with it.
Right.
Because that's how they're selling it. And I don't care how they sell it. We've got to get the word out. But the nice surprise for me was that in 2008, we had lost all of our retirement because we had it in real estate. And every piece of property that we owned was underwater, including the house we lived in.
Wow.
So I'm thinking, well, we aren't going to live long enough to have another 30 years to regrow this. So I guess we'll just work until we die. Not the case. Not the case. My daughter is a financial planner, and we hit Pro 5 in about 4 months. And she said, you have already created a retirement income that my GM workers work 40 years to have.
have goosebumps.
Yeah. And I said, oh, maybe I better pay attention to the business side of things. I didn't even know how the comp plan worked. I just knew money was coming in the mail. So it was, it and has been. It took me a while, I have to admit, to get over the whole network marketing piece. But you guys are young, so you don't necessarily have that issue that you have to overcome. You haven't had people beating down your door to try to get you to join Amway or some other network marketing company. So it is surprisingly one of the most incredible ways to build a business with integrity and honesty, because you won't be successful unless everyone that you bring in is successful. So just do your best to help others, and you're going to get rewarded in the process.
Yeah.
It's just the way it ought to be. It's not the way it is in regular business, or whatever we want to call. It's not that way in the healthcare world, but it's that way in this particular network marketing company called LifeVantage. It's just a phenomenal culture. It's supportive. Julie and I are not in the same line at all. We don't care. It doesn't matter, because we're in the LifeVantage family, and our goal is to make this available to everybody. I want to give you one. I got so many stories I could go on forever, but I want to give you one quick one. The very first meeting that I went to was in Indianapolis, and there was a break, and they brought up a Vietnam vet, and he had his camo on, and he had his cap, and it said Vietnam across the top, and he looked rugged. I mean, he looked rough. And he said, hi, my name is whatever his name was. And he said, I haven't slept more than an hour in a row for 40 years.
Jeez.
Until 10 days ago. And he said, on the fourth night of taking Protandim, I slept 4 hours in a row. He said, you have no idea. On the fourth night, he slept 4 hours in a row, and he hadn't slept more than an hour at a time for 40 years. He said, you have no idea what it's like to be able to sleep 4 hours in a row when you haven't slept more than an hour at a time for 40 years. He said, I was like instantly a different person the next day. And he said, I have one goal. He said, and that's to get this in the hands of every veteran in this country, because they need it and they deserve it. And I've never forgotten that. And that is a big goal of mine, is to make sure that at least they know about it. We're losing veterans to suicide at the rate of 22 or more every single day. And this product helps balance out so many things that get out of balance. And we don't know what those ways are, but your body knows. And because Protandim is not doing the work, Protandim is simply connecting the dots. It's flipping the switch. It's allowing that protein messenger on the outside of the cell to make it all the way to the nucleus and communicate with the DNA, which knows what you need when it gets the message. And so we need to be that messenger also, to connect the dots, to get this information to the people who need it the most. And so that's why I'm here in a nutshell.
Do you, either of you, have questions for Marcia?
The last part you were saying, it's about like connecting the dots, and you said feeding the protein to the nucleus, right?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a protein messenger on the outside of the cell, and it needs to get into the nucleus and communicate to the DNA. And the DNA knows how many of between 400 and 500 different enzymes our bodies need to make in specific amounts for us to function optimally at the cellular level. So it's not just the ones that we consider survival genes. There's a whole bunch of them. They do all kinds of things, from regulating the communication between your gut and your brain. You know, we've got issues with the gut-brain connection. There's all kinds of stuff that, because of our lifestyle, the stresses we're under, the air we breathe, the water we drink, the processed food, that we're not functioning at the cellular level optimally because the messages aren't getting through to the DNA. And that's what this product does. The NRF2 product specifically does that. And we've got another one, NRF1. I mean, we could go on here for hours. But
Yeah. Okay, so basically, the messages aren't getting passed through the DNA effectively, and that's the cause of oxidative stress.
it's the cause that your body is not making enough of the enzymes that neutralize the free radicals. We make free radicals just by breathing and moving, and we have to eat. And the process of metabolizing that food creates byproduct. If you guys who know about engines and you burn fuel in an engine, there's a byproduct, right?
Mm-hmm.
And cars have catalytic converters nowadays to clean up that byproduct, so we're not dumping all that nasty stuff out into the environment. Well, your body has natural catalytic converter enzymes that neutralize the free radicals that literally function like Pac-Man and move around inside your cell and change its structure. You have this perfect cell, and now you've got these little free radicals that are chewing off pieces and parts of the cell and literally changing its structure. So we are constantly replacing ourselves. You know, we're every 7 years, everything's new. Well, when you replicate the cells, once they're damaged, you're replicating damaged cells. You're not going to go back and replicate a brand new one. You're going to replicate the damaged one.
Okay.
So from a preventative stance, this is huge. I mean, my grandchildren, I have 2 grandchildren that literally wouldn't exist without this product. And their mother nursed them taking it. And as soon as she weaned them, she put them on it. They've never been without it. Wow. Those kids, and I'm seeing it with all of my grandchildren. I have 10 grandchildren. All of them take the product. And the differences in their health status, their emotional status, their mental and physical capabilities are obvious. They're obvious. Now, our company cannot say to take this if you're under 18 because we don't have studies that prove it. So we can't say that as a company.
Wow, for under 18, really?
But a company can't say it. However, you just said,
yeah. We have experience with it, but because the company has not done studies, then they can't make that claim. Okay, that's why. But if you look at what's in these products, they're all natural ingredients. There isn't anything in there in any amount that could be harmful even to a child.
And we have so many testimonials. If you just shared one, Marcia. I mean, I was just interviewing yesterday, Stephanie Kroon, whose son was born, they adopted him, and he was born with a lot of issues, and changed his life. They didn't know what to do. So a lot of kids, great results. Carrie Williams' son with autism, I mean, just incredible. So bottom line is the bottle says 18, whatever the bottle says, and some people will see that. Other people don't even ask, but if they ask, you say, you know what, it's herbal ingredient, very safe. We know lots of kids who have had life-changing results with these products. So, you know, some people are just not going to take it, but most will go, geez, makes sense to me, you know, and you were going to connect them to somebody, connect them to a health professional or someone who has had experience with these and can understand, you know.
Gotcha.
The beauty of third-party validation really is just say, listen, I'm going to connect you to somebody who really knows, who's worked with kids, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's somebody who's had personal experience with with a child or children in their own family. Many of the physicians that are part of our LifeVantage family will tell you right out, go for it.
Yeah. And Hannah, with Paula, would you like to ask Marcia? Because I know Marcia, hi Paula. Good.
How you doing?
Oh my gosh, fantastic. This is Marcia, who is a dear friend of mine and a LifeVantage distributor in Michigan. She's done very well over the years. She's one of the top leaders in the country, and she's a nurse. And I, if you all have questions, please ask Marcia.
Hi, Marcia. This is my mother-in-law, Paula.
Hi,
And
Paula.
she was in a really bad accident about 15 years ago. She was in a motorcycle accident. She was in a coma for about 4 months, and it actually took her husband's life. And she has suffered a traumatic brain injury because of it. And she's been on about 13 medications for the last 15 years. And my husband and myself are the primary caretakers for her. And we would love to really get her off of a lot of these medications. A lot of them are just medications because she's having a side effect, a symptom that's a side effect of another drug.
Right.
We do know that her seizure medication is probably the most important one that she takes right now, just because we know that with brain injuries, they're susceptible to seizures.
Right.
But really, other than that, she's on 12 other medications that she's on it because of a side effect of another one. And so she's slowly getting off her medications. We got her off her swelling medication. She's now off a blood pressure medication. She's off her dizzy medication, and she's now off of her bladder medication.
Wow.
She
Yeah.
just started taking the Tri-Synergizer 4 days ago, and she just stopped taking those 4 medications 4 days ago. So she felt the side effects of not being on those medications. She's felt very sick to her stomach. She's felt tired and nauseous. But yesterday and today, she's actually starting to feel better. And we think it may have something to do with the Protandim. We're not sure, but we're just hoping that she can just start to feel like a person again, because for the last 15 years, she's not really felt like herself.
Yeah, how could you with that many medications? I certainly understand. And getting off them, it depends on what they are. Some of them you need to wean off carefully, and you probably know all those things. The Protandim should help with any of the side effects from getting off the medications over a period of time. But I'm guessing when you accomplish that, you're going to feel pretty amazing. You're going to feel pretty amazing. With a closed head injury, I'm not going to say unlikely, but anytime you've had a traumatic brain injury, and that covers a lot of areas, including strokes, there can be parts of the brain that have been damaged or no longer work correctly. And whether or not Protandim can reactivate any of that, it's a mystery. Everybody's different, so who knows what that might be. But I think you're going to find just a higher level of energy, a better sleep pattern. I know a lot of people, particularly some that have had seizure issues, their seizure issues are not bothersome anymore.
Really?
So be encouraged and stick with it, because I think long term, and it's going to take time. This isn't, we didn't get in the shape we're in necessarily overnight. We're not going to get out of it overnight, but you're going to see quality of life improvements. I think that you're going to be really pleased with. So
I think if her energy gets better, she'll feel like a new person, because
Our prayers.
she's tired.
That's a big thing.
But yeah, 6 months minimum, right, Marcia? Really?
Yeah, I tell people to give it 1 month for every decade they've been alive before they can really begin to expect to see a whole lot.
6 months.
What do you say? 1 month for every decade they've been alive?
Yep.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the 6 months for me.
Well, just think, all that 6 months, you're going to be getting better every day.
Yeah. So good. So good. Do you
Good
guys
stuff.
have any last minute questions or last questions for Marcia? Because I said, Marcia, come on for 5 minutes.
I don't have any more questions, but Marcia, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us tonight. It really means a lot.
It's my pleasure, believe me. This is what I do this for.
So, Marcia, you mentioned curing seizures and stopping seizures at the end. Can you go a little more in depth with that?
It depends on the individual. And I'm
Okay.
not, we're not going to say we're going to cure anything.
Yeah.
But what we, in the almost 10 years that I've been with the company, I've seen some pretty dramatic improvements. And in particular, I'll tell you about a child who was 13, 12, and she literally had to wear a helmet because the seizures were so bad that she couldn't even go to the bathroom by herself because they never knew when they were coming.
Yeah.
And they had tried every possible seizure medication. She was going to the University of Michigan. They were out of ideas. They were going to go on this horribly stringent diet, going to remove, anything worth eating out of her diet. And her mother was going to have to quit work in order to manage all this. And one of my distributors said to the mother, who was her sorority sister from college, "You've got nothing to lose. Why don't you give it a whirl?" And so in desperation, she did. And within 3 weeks, all the seizures stopped.
What?
And they're still gone.
Wow.
In 3
And
weeks?
it's been 5 years.
What? That was just Protandim?
That was just NRF2. Yeah. We didn't have the other.
Okay.
So
So how much better is this new Tri-Synergizer compared to the Protandim?
well, what the studies are showing is that the three of them together are potentiating each other. So the NRF1 made the NRF2 work more effectively.
Okay.
But then
So
when
they
they
all-
added the NAD, it made everything work even better. And there are numbers, and Julia can share those with you because she's got all that data. I'm sure that she can just show you the studies.
Our website.
Yeah, she's pretty quick with that.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, it is on the website, isn't it? Yep. So,
Yep.
I'm not going to say that for every single person, it does it just exactly like that, because everybody's different.
Mm-hmm.
Some people take one NRF1 instead of two. You work with what we have and you make it work for your particular physiology. But we're seeing just amazing things, just amazing. It just keeps getting better and better, which is hard to believe, but it does.
Well, Marcia, what a
That's
story.
awesome.
What a story. And I just want these guys to know that you can reach out to Marcia.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Thanks,
You know,
Marcia.
Sweet.
And Marcia's been doing this for 10 years. She's got an amazing team, Pro 8. So she's got a lot of knowledge. And isn't she a great teacher?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, you pass on my phone number and email. Julia, feel free.
All right.
And if you guys have questions, and let's see, Ben, you're in Michigan, so we ought to get together in person.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
And let's light Michigan back up. It kind of faded away there for a bit. I think it's time for it to get a fire under its fan.
You said you were in Lansing, right?
Yeah, Lansing area.
Okay. I
Yep.
occasionally go over to East Lansing.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Maybe there'll be like a weekend or something. We
Yep.
can.
Let me know when you're headed that way.
Okay.
And we'll make it work.
Cool.
Okay? Just
Sounds
text
good.
me or call me or email, whatever you want to do.
Awesome.
And we'll get together and make some plans.
Cool.
Oh,
Okay.
Marcia, love ya. Thank you.
Okay, love you guys. Take
Thanks,
care.
Marcia.
Thanks,
Take care.
Marcia.
Thanks a lot.
You're so welcome.
Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So Hannah and Ben, we can stay on here. Good. Okay, wonderful. I'll stop the recording.